What is up, guys? Jared Spalding here, and today I'm making a video pertaining to the topic of total strength versus pound for pound strength. Now, the reason for this video is not because it's been a hot topic of debate on YouTube or anything. Rather, it's simply because I see a lot of ignorant comments on YouTube from people on both sides of the debate who can't seem to realize that both of these methods must be considered if we want to have an overall accurate and fair evaluation of somebody's strength. Now, people who are, against weight classes mattering at all, they say they're participation trophies. They also say things like weight classes don't mean anything in the jungle, which last time I checked, deadlifting 1,000 pounds in the jungle doesn't really mean anything either, but whatever. We don't have to look at it literally, I suppose. But yeah, they say basically like the biggest person is always going to be the strongest, and that's just it. It doesn't really matter. Not considering things like, a 5'5" individual could never weigh the same amount as a 6'5" individual. So that's kind of the big reason why we have weight classes, because genetics are not something that you could change. But then there's also people that whip out their, pound for pound formula or whatever, saying, well, my bench press is more of my body weight than yours is, even though the two individuals might be 300 pounds in body weight apart. And the dude doesn't realize that somebody who's lifting double body weight at 300 pounds is simply more impressive than someone doing it at 200 pounds. So both of these things do matter, and I will explain right now. Let's look at, first of all, the people who think that pound for pound is the only thing to consider. Okay? I have this point to you, all right? So let's take an example of Kirill Sarshev. He benched at 180 kg or 396 pound body weight, mind you, the world record raw for any weight class bench of 335 kg or 738.5 pounds. Now let's look at somebody who weighs half as much and benches half as much, okay? And then we'll assume under the same conditions, so in a meet with strict judging, but a bench only meet, okay? Now this individual will say weighs 90 kg, so they weigh half as much and they bench half as much, just like I said. And so if they weigh 90 kg, they'll be 198 pounds. And if they bench half as much, they'll bench what? 167.5 kg, or I believe 369 pounds, approximately. So now you might be thinking, well, what does this really mean? Well, I just want to show that this pound for pound strength doesn't mean that much when you consider the fact that the world record for the 90 kg weight class, because that is an actual weight class in powerlifting, we'll assume that they fell into this class and not the 100 kg. The world record in this class is, I believe, 565 pounds, or about, 256.5 kg. So this individual who has the same exact pound for pound strength as Kirill Sarshev would be benching close to 200 pounds under the world record. That is my point right there, okay? You can't just say, well, I bench as much for my body weight, so it's more impressive than you benching that much for your body weight. Because when two people who weigh different amounts should have different expectations of strength compared to their own body weight. For every pound, they're going to have a different amount of pounds that they can output on any lift. It doesn't just matter. It doesn't matter if it's just bench press. Bench press, I do feel like your weight class contributes the most to your strength on, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to be a trend in all of the three major lifts that are performed in powerlifting. Pretty much any lift overall. I can't really think of any where body weight means nothing, except for maybe strict curl. But even then, I would imagine there's different genetic factors that are going to play in, even if it's not necessarily your weight around your stomach. But anyway, we're kind of off track here. Point being that, especially in the three prevalent lifts in major powerlifting federations today, you're going to see that trend. Now, there are going to be exceptions to this trend. I mean, look at Yuri Belkin. He deadlifted 970 in the 242 class. That is higher than the world record in the 275 and 308 classes, and that is 110 kg, 125, and 140 kg. So yes, I get that there are going to be outliers, but they are very, very rare. And generally speaking, the world record, when you move up from one weight class to the next, is going to move up with it. But at the same time, you can't say that, well, you can't say I'm this strong for this amount that I weigh. But you also can't say that body weight doesn't mean anything. So that is my point, okay? That in both cases, you kind of have to consider that the other side is somewhat right, but that you're also somewhat right. Both of these things must be factored in. How strong someone should be for their own body weight is going to be really the thing to look at. but you can't say that someone is quote unquote fat so that their 700 plus bench press doesn't mean anything. And I'll take a perfect example. Look at the comments on Julius Maddox's 705-pound bench press in the animal cage. And this video is on GK Higa's channel. I believe he is the Higa monster. He's a powerlifter himself. And yeah, he has the video. It went viral, got like 1.4 million views now. I remember when it was kind of new, it had a couple hundred K. So it's blown up pretty quickly. And a lot of people have been coming to say, oh, this isn't impressive. Look how fat he is. Julius Maddox benched 705 pounds at approximately 200 kg, I believe, or 441 pounds. I know he said he was 195 kg or 430 pounds on Insta pretty recently when he had a box jump fail. But I believe during this bench press, I should say, because it wasn't really an official meet, he weighed around 200 kg. But yeah, he benched 705 pounds. And he already performed it at an official meet, and where he nearly locked out 723, which would have been the second highest. But 705 is the 5th highest bench ever. And then you had people who were commenting about, oh, I can bench my body weight too, which obviously it's not his body weight, so it's just doesn't really need to be addressed. But then you have people whipping out their formulas saying, oh, well, I weigh 150 and can bench 310. You know how many people at 150 can bench 310? More than 5. I mean, only 5 people, including Julius, have ever benched 705 or more. So that's just a kind of a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Anyway, though, do hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it clarified a few things for you. And sorry about my rambling. I've kind of just trying to make a basic point and elaborated a bit much on it. But with that being said, peace, love, much respect.